Did you know that according to the Arthritis Foundation, about 300,000 kids in the United States have been diagnosed with juvenile arthritis? Did you even know kids could get arthritis? Do you have any siblings, children, or friends with juvenile arthritis? Well, now you do. As a 3-year-old, I was diagnosed with juvenile idiopathic arthritis. I have grown up with this debilitating disease and have become a role model for other children whose lives have been altered by arthritis. I am currently a spokesperson for the Arthritis Foundation and have had my story shared on not one, but 2 national websites. Therefore, you could consider me an expert. The Arthritis Foundation states that in the United States, more children are diagnosed with juvenile arthritis than diabetes, which is why it's so important to raise awareness and gain a perspective of this debilitating disease. This speech will provide you with both an education and explanation of juvenile arthritis by providing you with personal insight on the impact of arthritis, the signs and symptoms, possible causes, and lastly, common treatment goals for juvenile arthritis. It was just another morning for my family and I. As always, I woke my mom up bright and early yelling "Mama up time" as I was just a toddler at the time. My big brother Nate and I were playing, and we didn't have a care in the world. That normal morning was the same day my mom noticed a swollen, hot, painful finger. That was the day that forever changed my life. While at first the pediatrician insisted I was fine and must have just bumped my finger, my mother's instinct was right as she knew there was something more to this. After several weeks of seeing different physicians and some persistence, my mom finally got me an appointment with a pediatric rheumatologist. In fact, the only one in the state at the time. I remember entering a fluorescent-lit sterile lab holding my big purple stuffed bunny named Bella and squeezing her tight as the doctor's cold fingers bended, extended, and checked all of my joints. While entering, I didn't want to be poked and prodded. But if we wanted an answer, I had no other choice, just like many other children with this disease. After my visit with the rheumatologist, I was officially diagnosed with juvenile idiopathic arthritis. Growing up having peers, teachers, and coaches question how you look perfectly normal, yet can't participate in gym class, hockey practice, or even needing a quiet room for exams is an upsetting challenge for any young boy or girl to face. It's even more difficult trying to tell them that it's because your joints are stiff and they hurt from your arthritis, only to get a response of, "Isn't arthritis only for old people?" This is why increased education and awareness regarding this disease and the impact on a child is so vital. Now that you all have some personal insight on what it's like to be an adolescent who's been diagnosed and grown up with juvenile arthritis, let's obtain a basic understanding of the disease itself. Juvenile arthritis isn't a disease in itself, but it's an umbrella term, according to Mayo Clinic, that's used to describe many autoimmune and inflammatory conditions or diseases that can develop in children under the age of 16. Juvenile arthritis is an autoimmune disease. Now you might be asking, what's an autoimmune disease? The best way to think of it is when you get the flu. A normal, healthy person's body cells would attack the flu cells, where with an autoimmune disease, such as arthritis, your body kind of confuses the flu cells with your body cells and ends up attacking its own cells. This then will cause a flare-up, which is an increase in your signs and symptoms of arthritis. Now that we've gained a basic understanding of juvenile arthritis, let's move into the signs and symptoms. WebMD includes signs and symptoms including pain, stiffness that is worse in the morning, swelling and tenderness in the joints, limping, fever, rashes, weight loss, and even eye problems. You might be wondering what is the reason behind some of these symptoms, and how do you know if it's normal or not? Let's start with pain and stiffness. Children may complain of pain in their joints or muscles at times. This may be after a long, busy day. Yet a child with juvenile arthritis will wake up complaining of pain or stiffness that may or may not improve as they begin their day. Next is swelling. This is a sign of inflammation. The swelling might come and go, and the joint may feel warm, but it's not like the swelling you get immediately after an injury, which is consistent. Redness or rashes on the skin are next in line for possible symptoms. Unlike rashes from dry skin, allergic reactions, or poison ivy, rashes from juvenile arthritis might be faint, pink rashes that are not oozing or itchy over the knuckles, across the cheeks, and the bridge of the nose, the trunk, the arm, or the legs. While it's normal for children to be picky about eating, signs of juvenile arthritis might be weight loss due to a lack of appetite or fatigue. Lastly, persistent redness, pain, or blurred vision of the eye could be a sign of eye-related complications of juvenile arthritis, known as iritis, or inflammation of the eye, as written on arthritis.org. Note that this is different than infections commonly passed around school that children get, like pink eye. As you can see above, many signs of juvenile arthritis could easily be mistaken for other issues that aren't serious or long-lasting. This is why it's so important for parents to consult their physician if they suspect it in their children. Now that we're capable of identifying signs and symptoms of juvenile arthritis, let's dig into the probable cause. When it comes to the cause of juvenile arthritis, rheumatologists and researchers still have more questions than answers. Currently, more than a dozen genes out of about 20 to 40,000 in the human genome have been identified as strongly associated with juvenile arthritis, according to the Arthritis Foundation. Kids get arthritis too. The best way to understand this process is to imagine a flower. The stem as the genes that boost a child's vulnerability to developing one or more autoimmune diseases. The petals on the flower represent autoimmune diseases, like type 1 diabetes, lupus, or juvenile arthritis. Environmental factors like wind, a storm, and too little or too much sun might cause the petals to fall off, which then triggers the onset of an autoimmune disease. With arthritis, these environmental factors are thought to be toxins, foods, allergies, or even stress, as assumed on arthritis.org. Now that we understand the potential causes of arthritis, let's advance in the treatment goals. There's a wide variety of treatment methods. Dr. Giannini, a rheumatologist on the Arthritis Foundation's website, states that the idea is to shut off the disease as quickly as possible with as aggressive a therapy as you need to. Approaches may differ from physician to physician, but the goal of juvenile arthritis is always the same: remission, which according to arthritis.org is the permanent or temporary disappearance of the signs and symptoms of a disease. This speech has given you personal insight on the impact of juvenile arthritis, the ability to notice possible signs and symptoms of arthritis in children, the probable cause of juvenile arthritis, and lastly, the goal of treating juvenile arthritis: remission. The Arthritis Foundation reports that every 1 in 250 children in the United States are diagnosed with juvenile arthritis. This is why it's vital to understand the disease, as it's likely you either already know a child who's been diagnosed who needs your support, or you might know a child in the future who is yet to be diagnosed. Stiff, sore joints in the morning, not wanting to participate in normal activities, pain and tenderness in the joints, irritable and fatigued, or maybe just a swollen, hot, painful finger. The pediatrician insists is fine. Do any of these signs make you think of a child that you know? Remember, kids get arthritis too. Thank you.